Alright, good afternoon everybody! Wow, isang mainit na hapon po sa lahat ng ating viewers and supporters dito sa show where we talk about anything and everything L&D. This is the Trainers Lounge presented by Circological Group and CLDP Philippines. And so, I hope everyone's doing okay and I hope nakikisama ang weather dyan sa inyo. Sa amin, medyo mainit. At parang summer ulit. Ika nga. Alright, well, for today's episode, it's a bit on the creative side, Iran. We are going to talk about how to instill creativity in learning and development. Alam naman natin that in this industry, it's not okay to become monotonous. Ika nga, yung parang para-pareho ka lang all throughout. You have to at least have some sense of creativity in not only just how you deliver. Alright. So for today's episode, we have a guest, and she is the co-founder of Press Start Studio, with a mission to help individuals and organizations design and build their goals and dreams. She is a writer, corporate trainer, teacher, and lifelong learner. She started her career in the country's largest educational publishing company, and she later gained experience as hospitality, fashion retail, and corporate trainer from world-renowned top global brands, and she has successfully trained and spoken to thousands around the Philippines and abroad. She is a certified learning and development professional, an internationally accredited certification by Global Skills Development Council. With over 12 years of strong experience in the field of learning and development, she graduated cum laude with a double degree in social sciences and education from the University of Santo Tomas, Manila. She took units of Masters in International Studies from De La Salle University, and she also took up language courses from Alliance Française de Manila and University of the Philippines. She passed the licensure exams for teachers in 2010. And she is the author of two books entitled Press Start, Play Guide for Life Game Changers, and Pressing On, Prose and Poetry on Life and Love. She founded Press Start Writing Community, Language Learning Community, and organized Successful Writers Camp and Conference. She runs soft skills training, writing workshops, and customized learning sessions for organizations and schools. Ladies and gentlemen, palakpakan naman po natin. Let us welcome Miss Elaine Ruiz, CLDP. Ayan. Hello po. Narinig ba tayo? Hello. Hello, Miss Elaine. Hello. Ayan. Ayun. Narinig na po ba ako?
Hello.
Ayun,
Hi.
sorry.
Yes.
Nagkaroon ata ng technical glitch. Ayan. Alright. O, kamusta po, Ma'am Elaine? Kamusta?
Hello. Yes, it's a bit robotic.
Ay, hello.
Hello.
Sorry. Hello. Ayusin natin yung
Hi,
mic
hi, hi,
natin.
hi, everyone.
Ayun. Alright, kamusta po dyan? How is everything
Okay.
doing there?
Well, it's doing okay. A bit raining. And may
Baliktad.
thunder and lightning. Yeah. So to everyone who's in Metro Manila, please take care, stay safe,
Oh,
stay
yun.
indoors. Kasi nga, lakas ng ulan.
So, mali pala yung introduction ko. Dapat sa akin kasi sobrang init. It's,
Ah,
wala pang ano.
summer in
Pampanga,
August.
yes. It's summer feel kami
Pwede yun.
dito.
Summer in Pampanga.
Summer feels kami dito ngayon. Well, anyways, I hope you had a good afternoon. And ayun nga, as I've mentioned, we're going to talk about how to keep the creativity juice flowing all throughout your, well, not just in your work, but also in life na rin, di ba? Kasi hindi lang naman
True.
sa work kailangan ng creativity, but also in your personal day-to-day things. Ayan. So, let's start off with a few simple questions muna. Ayan. So, actually, we prepared some of the questions here. So, by the way, also to our viewers, if you're tuning in right now, kindly send us your message as well. And post nyo lang po dyan sa comment section natin and we'll get to them. Alright. So first up, why does creativity matter in L&D and in organizations na rin?
So, first of all, it's very important.
Mhm.
Napaka-important. I couldn't emphasize it anymore how
Mhm.
important it is. But primarily now, I believe it's no longer a negotiable skill, if you may
Mhm.
call it, But a non-negotiable aspect na, especially in the middle of the crisis. We've got to innovate, otherwise we become obsolete. We become extinct. So it's important, it's crucial to keep the business going, especially nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's important because it can help increase the motivation of the staff, especially if you're working on something that you feel most passionate about, that you genuinely enjoy. It can help increase that motivation, which in turn can affect the bottom line. It can affect the performance of the company. And as L&D,
Mm-hmm.
we have that power and at the same time responsibility to help encourage, implement this, help empower people to unleash that creativity so that whenever they're faced with a problem, with challenges, I understand we've been really shocked, if I may say, by the extent of the effect of this pandemic. So with
True.
that many
True.
challenges, creativity can help us think outside the box.
Yun.
Or
Oo
if I
naman.
may say, think like there's no box. Parang wag na natin ikakon yung ating mga solusyon. And we can probably come up with solutions that may be beneficial not only for the company but also for our personal, professional lives as well.
Ayun. And I think one of the most common misconceptions then when we say creativity, no, they would say it's all about design. Eh. When you say
Or
creativity,
drawing.
oh,
Or
drawing.
drawing.
I
Drawing,
think that
drawing.
I think that's the worst that you can describe creativity to someone. Eh,
Mm-mm.
drawing.
Mm-mm.
Maganda drawing.
Mm-mm.
But it's
Yes.
not just that. It's not just
True.
about design. It's not just about being colorful. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually a way of thinking. Eh. No?
True.
That
Very true.
it applies into what you do, not just on yourself, but on your work, how you deal with people, how you deal with problems, and how you go with everyday challenges. Yun.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but at the same time, pag sinabi din kasing creativity, a lot of us will, kasi nga naman, creativity is such a broad thing, no?
Yeah. Broad topic talaga.
Now, when you mention creativity to someone, like if I were to ask you now, for you, how can you define creativity?
Well, for me, it's coming up with fresh ideas
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and innovative solutions to make life better. Siguro
To
in
make
that
life
nutshell.
better. Ayun.
Yeah, to make life easier
Mm.
and more convenient also.
Baka kasi isipin nila, ay, creativity, pang artist lang yan. Di naman ako artist eh. Mga ganun.
And that's a common misconception. I
Mm-hmm,
would
yeah.
agree with you talaga na hindi sila magaling in arts or they're not into music or
Mm-hmm.
they're not into writing. But there are many ways on how to get creative. From cooking, for example, you can get creative with your cooking,
Oo naman.
with your baking. I used to work with a hotel and I have the most creative housekeepers from the way they fold
Yeah.
their
I've seen pictures sa ganyan sa
yeah.
Pinterest eh, minsan, di ba?
Yes, so fold what do you call this, towel,
Oo.
yeah, mga napkins.
Mhm.
So, yeah, regardless of what our department is, regardless of the role is, can you hear the thunder now?
Oo. Oh,
And
yun ba yun?
yeah,
Thunder
that's
ba
the
yun?
thunder. Yeah,
I
that's the
see.
thunder.
Oh my God. We're living
Yeah.
in two separate worlds pala as of the
Totoo.
moment. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you were mentioning creativity
Yes,
in other industries nga, no?
yes, and I think in all industries, whether you're in the medical field or you're in real estate or you're in education, definitely, creativity plays a major role
Mm-hmm.
because it starts with how we think, whether we
Ayun.
think we're creative or not. Minsan dun pumapasok yun na parang iniisip natin, hindi kasi ako marunong mag-drawing. Ergo,
Hindi na ako creative.
we're not creative. Yeah. And also not to generalize this. But I
Mm-hmm.
used to work kasi, with different departments and whenever we talk about creativity or let's say there's a brainstorming session and someone or the facilitator asks you to say a creative idea,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
more often than not, people who are good with numbers, let's say people in finance, not to generalize, of course,
Yeah.
they would say na, not me, Yeah, I'll do the numbers na lang, but not the
Oo.
creativity part.
Ayan.
Yeah, because again, I think there's that misconception about
Oo.
what creativity
Oh,
is.
kahit naman numbers yan eh, di ba? You can find ways
Mm,
on how to do it creatively. Ayan. So
mm-hmm.
it's
How you
such.
present your Excel, di ba? Your Excel
Yeah, like
data
how you
can be
design Excel, di
creative.
ba? Like how can you
That's
create your
true.
job easier? How can you present it in a way that will be easily understood by those listening to you? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Now we've mentioned creativity and how it matters in L&D. Now,
Mm-hmm.
going to the topic itself, how do we instill creativity? And how do we instill or how do we insert creativity in L&D and not just for ourselves but in our team as well? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there are many ways talaga.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe yung creativity can be instilled in the entire ADDIE model, you know, and the entire
Ooh.
design from your analysis. Or you can get creative how you would know the needs of the staff. You could do like online surveys or polls or crowdsourcing or whatever, down to your instructional design itself, you know, creating your PowerPoint presentation and how you animate your presentation, how you add or insert videos or music or photos there, um, from the actual implementation. Uh, so now that we've shifted virtually,
Ayun,
okay,
oo.
so it's not that those are my thoughts. So now that we're doing virtually, maybe nagpa-facilitate tayo minsan and there are, for example, pets. So how can we incorporate that and make it, you know, lighter, more fun for our learners as well? How do we incorporate icebreakers now that we can see each other face to
Oo nga,
face? Wala na yung
that's one of the
talagang.
biggest challenge din eh.
Yes. How can we still do like energizers, like exercise, even we're doing online? And I don't think it has to stop just
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we're doing it online. Yeah. It doesn't mean we'll stop doing games, for instance, just because we're no longer seeing each other face to face. I think mas lalong kailangan because mas nagiging limited yung attention ng learners. So all the more mai instill yung creativity in the program itself. And yeah, up until we evaluate the program, how do we make it more productive even after the program ended, and how can we be creative with our evaluation tools, with our quizzes, with our examinations, with our case studies and all that.
Ayun, oo. And well, on my experience din naman kasi, well, education is very similar to training or to L&D. So, my
Mm-hmm.
educational background is I took up education. And I thought for a couple of years then. One of the key points that I remembered from one of our professors, this is something about presenting or how to create your slides. And so,
Mm-hmm.
well, especially now, the virtual na tayo, slides have become,
Mm-hmm.
PowerPoint has become the next Manila paper.
Yes,
Ika nga, no?
cartolina. Next
Cartolina, yeah.
blackboard.
Well, ganon. So, when we were studying for how to create learning materials, and I remember one of the things that they said na, avoid putting too much text and avoid reading what you have written in your slides. Kasi nga naman, what's the purpose? What's your purpose pa kung binasa mo lang din naman yung nasa slides, di ba?
Totoo.
So it
Sinend mo na lang sana
oh, di ba? Sinend mo na lang,
yung
di ba?
PowerPoint. That's
Ganon din
true.
pala gagawin mo. So, it was one of the things that you have to, it's overcome with your creativity. No?
Mhm.
How do you utilize such a small screen? No? Kasi, in a way, may mga tao na naliliitan dun sa space ng PowerPoint, no? Nakita
Yes.
mo,
Because you
sobrang
want to
text
put
heavy.
everything in
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
So one of the key challenges then na para sa akin nag-translate over into L&D is how to keep my materials fresh, how to keep them well at the same time what do you call this? At the same time creative for the eyes ng mga
Mhm.
nakakita. And then
Mhm.
on the back end naman, no, like hindi lang naman kasi sa training natatapos ang L&D. Like how do you communicate training? And how will you well, basically make the candidates agree na mag-attend doon sa training.
Mhm.
Kasi even the presentation itself, no? Like,
Mhm.
you cannot just, halimbawa, announcement, we have the training for next
That's
week,
true.
di ba?
Mhm. So you now make posters
Oo, gawa ka ng
and make it
poster, oo.
through Canva, for example.
Yan,
And that's
Canva.
like talaga thank you Canva for everything.
Oo.
So to those who are not familiar yet, this is a good tool from your PowerPoint presentations. They have really amazing templates
Yun.
for your posters, design. Yeah, so much easier,
Mm.
especially if you are not into talagang creating it from
Yeah.
scratch. That would be a good start.
Oo. Canva is like a lifesaver na din. And like, hindi ko na kailangan mag-photoshop pa na sobrang meticuloso.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
nandun na
yeah,
eh.
yeah.
Drag and drop
Mm-mm.
in a way. But yeah, going back, there are a lot of things then to think about na hindi lang yung presentation but also how we conduct the things that we do. Now, now that we know how to instill or which part siguro sabihin na natin. Now, how can you unleash naman? How can you, well, basically show the world your creativity, and especially in our industry?
Mhm. Well, first, I believe it's important that we identify what the barriers are for us not to unleash it.
Ako.
Diba?
Barriers.
Parang we always, I would share, it always starts with a mindset.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, if we think we're creative, if we think we're not creative, we're that. Yun tayo. Whatever we think we are, we're that. So that belief that we can create something, that belief that we can create new and innovative ideas, that would be a good start. And experimentation. Like, figure it out along the way. Yeah, when we started to shift virtually as well, I had to navigate through the tricks of Zoom,
Mm-hmm,
how
mm-hmm.
to record it, how to share slides, how to do this, how to do that, and it's a matter of trial and error, and that's part of being creative. We we get ourselves out there. We do what is necessary, and then inject our own flavor. I would say our own flavor
Oo nga
to
naman.
it, and to not be afraid to make mistakes.
True,
Sometimes
true.
we don't want to challenge the status quo. For example, it's a certain system in L&D, for example, or it's a process in the organization. Because let's say we've always done it this way. Oh, there's this line. We've always done this
Na
way,
yun na yung
or this is
nakasanayan.
how
Yeah.
ito na yung nakasanayan, this is how we present before, this is how we roll out the training, this is how we prepare the materials, and it stopped there. We become too comfortable with it, and no longer find ways on how to make it better or make it more effective. Kasi nga, it's comfortable
Oo nga naman.
and we're used to it.
Yeah,
And yeah, it could be dangerous, right? If
yeah, it has some sense of parang ano eh. Well, not necessarily danger na mababama ka, but rather parang
yeah, yeah.
may sense of uncertainty talaga siya. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
honest, right?
Mm-hmm. And of course, how to instill it would be to practice it like any skill. Okay, like exercising, like building your muscles. It needs to be practiced. It needs to be done regularly. Like incorporated in our routine, like a time for me to get creative, a time for me not to think about the numbers, for instance, but for this moment to come up with something that makes my heart sing, for example, or something that would uh, be useful, and just allow ourselves to be, just be in the flow.
Oo nga,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love the term, the
The
flow
flow.
theory ni Hayi Csikszentmihalyi. I hope I'm not butchering his name. Um, when he said that there's that sweet spot, there's that sweet spot wherein you are your most creative when you are feeling challenged and your skill
True, true, yeah.
matches that challenge.
Oo.
Because sometimes, hindi tayo nagiging creative kasi nasa stress out na tayo.
Oo.
Yan. Because
We're,
the challenge might be so high, but then the skill is still low. Okay. So and as L&Ds to help our participants find that sweet spot, that flow, and to let them experience it and allow them to get as creative as they can. And that's what I practice as well, especially with, for example, I handle interns. Yeah. Usually when I give instructions, I would remind them to get creative because when I tend to micromanage, I realize nalilimit yung kanilang nagagawa.
Yeah.
So when I allow them to be, to just um, go over it, research about it, and then just do your thing there, get creative, I am amazed.
And it
Like,
came from them.
yeah, that's true.
Yun nga eh.
And I think that kind of thinking, that kind of mindset would be beneficial for organizations. When people are able to express their individuality and their creativity, we will be doing amazing things. Yeah, even beyond what's expected from us. And not just because it's in the JD or it's in the task list, but because genuinely we want to help the organization succeed. And we think solutions for every challenge or every problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, well, going back to dun sa overwhelming feeling, no? Yeah, it is true. We cannot deny that, eh, no? If you do something new, you cannot expect it to be 100% success, right? Trying new
Mhm.
things also incorporates the chance na it would not work. And we
Mhm,
just have
mhm,
to accept that, eh. Accepting that you will fail is actually parang prevention siya, eh, di ba? Prevention is better than cure, we always say. So if you accepted na alam mong, okay, it might not work, but I'll still try, then
mhm,
mas lalaking chance mo of figuring out what would work. Kesa dun sa,
mhm,
natatakot ako, I don't wanna do it, it's
mhm,
too overwhelming, I don't think
mhm,
it's gonna work. Don't think
mhm.
that it's not gonna work. Think that it might fail, and it will give you the chance to find out how to do it better, ika.
Yeah, love it. Yeah,
Yun. And
true.
shout out lang sa ating viewers. They actually
Thank
gave
you.
some insights as well. And from Alan Keith de Guzman. And thank you so much, Alan, for tuning in. He mentioned that creativity for me is using imagination to be productive. Oh, ano?
Ganda nun.
Oh,
Yes,
diba?
yes.
Using imagination to be productive. Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you're just stuck in the imaginary world, kung isip pa ng isip lang, pero it's not leading into something productive, it's not becoming a helping hand and how you do
Mhm,
things,
mhm.
then may mali doon. And syempre, mali din yung puro
Put
ka
into
lang
action
imagination.
then, di
It
ba? Yeah,
needs
you
action.
imagine it and it needs to be implemented as
Kung
well.
puro ka lang imagination, kung puro ka lang daydreaming, iba na yun, ibang usapan na yun.
Mhm. But
Mahirap
that's
na
an
yun.
important component. Imagination is an important component. Like things exist because we imagined it first.
Yeah,
So
true.
that's important um for training, for instance. We planned it first
Hindi
before
naman siya
we
automatically nasulat
execute.
ka na
Yeah,
eh.
na parang okay, ito na training na tayo. Diba? So we should plan first, diba?
Oo.
Ano what's the objective? What's the
Ayan.
purpose? Yeah.
Ayun. So, thank you so much, Alan, for sharing that nice insight. Ayun. All right. Well, we've talked about how can you unleash. You also mentioned kanina that there are barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Are there, meron bang mga established barriers that people should know about? Yan. When it comes to, well, basically your creativity or your productivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As mentioned earlier, talagang mindset. Unang-una
Una
dyan.
yung barrier na yun ng
Barrier
mindset.
talaga yung mindset. That fear of failure. The thinking that it's too risky, for instance. That feeling that they lack time, for example, na okay, ang dami ko ng trabaho, ang dami kong ginagawa, wala na akong time maging creative pa. Yan. Or waiting for things to be perfect. Because perfectionism is the surefire, sure ball, 100% yan, na magpapastock sa atin. Like, we're waiting everything to be perfect. For example, sa training program, sa training module, yan. Gusto natin for word, per line, talaga kailangan perfect, 100% yeah, before implementing it. It's good, no? I'm not saying that, okay, don't proofread, don't edit, that's important.
Wag
That's
naman,
another
wag
thing,
naman.
Hindi yun, hindi, that's not the point. But, like, we're waiting na 100% ready. or 100% kailangan to the dot. Yan. And minsan, yun yung nag-hold us back for us to finally implement it. Yan, nag-hold us back to really unleash that creativity. And then we compare it, for example, dun sa isang program natin na probably we've been running for decades. We memorize na like the back of our hand. We're comparing our new program, our newly developed program to that. So there's no comparison. Because this one, we are getting the hang of it. Diba, dine-develop natin siya. Nandun tayo sa design stage. So, there might be flaws right there and left and right, but it's an opportunity for us to get creative and correct them. So,
Okay.
another barrier I believe is the feeling that you're not being supported.
Ah.
Na okay, so
Oo.
parang hindi naman sinusupport for instance ng company ko or ng team ko or let's say na L&D ko or ng manager ko yung creativity. Yeah, baka magpagalitan ako. Um, that might be just our opinion.
Ah,
It's not a fact.
especially if you don't follow up on it, di ba?
Or you don't even propose something.
Oo,
Diba?
tama,
Parang
tama.
tayo na yung nagsa-self-critic na okay, I won't propose this training program anymore kasi anyway, i-decline naman to ng management. Or I wouldn't work on this new improvement sa process, hindi naman to i-accept. Okay, so without even trying. So maybe that's another barrier, like
Oo nga naman.
stopping even before trying,
Mm.
even before suggesting.
I guess that has something to do talaga with confidence. Eh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the hard truths. In order to be creative, in order to show your creativity, you need also the equal amounts of confidence in it. Diba? So I
I would
think
have to agree,
that's
yeah.
one of the things that factor into that mindset na hindi siya mag-work or baka hindi siya pwede, baka hindi siya payagan. Kasi you're not confident na at that point. So I think yeah, in my own way, I think.
I would have to agree that then it's complemented with belief in yourself and belief in your product or belief in your idea.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Kasi nga, who would believe in it if tayo
You
mismo
yourself,
na
hindi.
nag-isip, diba? We don't believe in it.
I see. Ayun. And ayun, singit ko lang din again from our viewers. So Rosette said, oy, magandang hapon, Miss Rosette. So she said that I agree. Never 100% ready sa training. Something can always go wrong. Parang sakalap naman yun. Pero yeah, I mean, one of the hard truths of our industry. Technically.
For example, sa tech stuff, diba?
Ay, tech stuff. Sorry, tech stuff.
Tapos biglang pagdating, wait, nag-freeze, for example, or internet connection, diba? So, that can happen as well.
Actually, well, with this kind of parang hard truth sa atin, meron akong na-develop na motto in my own. Kasi I used to do theater and one of the best known mottos from as a performer is the show must go on, di ba? Like I think everyone knows that. Pero along the way, napansin ko, not just in theater, na nag-prepare ka sa show, magkakaroon ng mali. But you have to move on. Then, nung naging teacher ako, hindi lahat ng lessons ko tama or naaayon dun sa lesson plan ko. And then, when I transitioned into L&D, yung mga candidates ko, hindi ganito yung expected kong outcome. So, imbes na ginawa ko siyang the show must go on, I kinda turned it into the show must go wrong. So, expected ko na may mali. But that gave me...
So you can prepare more.
Oh, yun nga eh.
Right?
But that gave me the edge to not panic, not get caught in the moment. Ay, may mali. Ano gagawin ko? But rather sasabi, eto yung mali. Okay, ano pwede kong gawin? Nandun na ako. Ayun.
Yeah.
Alright.
And that's an opportunity to get creative, to get spontaneous.
Spontaneity.
May bigla kang brainstorming or breakout session, for example, like a group activity or literally take a break. Okay, guys, take a break.
Tapos ikaw, stress ka na in the background. Anong gagawin ko na? But yeah, it's an opportunity.
That's your time to come up with something new.
Ayun. Anything to add pa pala, Mama Lane, for barriers? Anything that we should know more pa?
Barriers, I think I think that's the main one talaga. The
Okay. Sa
self-limitations
limitations talaga,
the
no?
self-limitations that we set. And uh, maybe also the limitations in the organizations. I would have to understand. I understand then. Of course, the organization would have its set policies and procedures. So it doesn't mean that we're going to violate these policies and procedures. So we are creative, aligned pa rin, of course, with the standards. We are creative and still we adhere to the vision, to the mission, to the values of the organization. Yeah. We get
Oo.
creative, but still it's still right. It's still moral. What we're doing is still
Dapat
it's still
tama pa rin naman
moral.
siya.
Yes, yes.
Baka naman gawa ng new ways dyan. Eh, wala ka na pala sa tamang landas. Or you're not
Mm-hmm.
following any protocols anymore. You're not following the vision. Yun nga, and mission of the company. That's a good point.
Or maybe
Alright.
the viewers also can mention baka they have their personal barriers as well.
Sure, yeah.
Para we could comment on that as
Ayun
well.
po. So, ayan, sa mga viewers po natin, if you have things na pumipigil sa inyo into
Mm-hmm.
unleashing your creative, well, prowess or flow, mention nyo lang po sa comment and maya-maya, let's go to them and let's talk about them. Ayan. Well, yeah, thank you so much for that. Now, I think na-mention na in a way, pero are there any concrete tips on how to overcome creative thinking barriers?
Mm. Concrete tips. Share ko muna with my personal
Sure, sure,
tips.
sure, sure.
Like, for example, what I do when let's say, I need to write a program, I need to write a module. My first tested and proven strategy is brain dumping. So, to those who are watching who might not be
Parang ngayon ko lang
familiar
narinig. Oh, I
with
think.
brain dumping, yeah, it's when you get a piece of paper and a pen, and to those who are watching, you can do so right now.
Oh, yun.
And then set a timer. Let's say Pomodoro technique, 20 minutes, 20 or 25 minutes. Okay? And then just write everything that's on your mind. Write all the topics you can think of without stopping, without pausing. Like you write there, or strategic management, a new employee program, supervisory skills training, management training, leadership, grammar, la la la. Just go on with your list. Kasi sometimes we get stuck with the topic. Ano ba ang topic ko? So just think of everything, anything under the sun, and just put it down on the paper for the next 25 minutes. You're not allowed to stop again. You're not allowed to pause. You're not allowed to check your grammar. Okay, whether tama ba yung subject-verb agreement mo, nakapitalize ko ba, nalagyan ko ba ng period? You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go back to what you've previously written. You just need to write from your heart. Yan, or what's in your subconscious. And that works kasi nga we're not limited by the grammar. Yun minsan parang, ay, hindi ako makasulat, for example, ng design ko, ng instructional, ng script ko, for example, or ng ilalagay ko sa PowerPoint. Okay, just type, just go ahead, just write it down. I-dump mo muna yung idea for a certain period of time, and then you take a break. And then go over to what you've written down, and you'll be amazed. Wow, ang dami palang posible. Ang dami palang topics na pwede ko ilagay. Ang dami ko pala, for example, icebreakers. Ang naisip mo gusto ko ilagay, ano yung mga potential icebreakers. Ang dami palang pwede. Yeah, because we did not allow yung conscious mind natin na siya yung mag-dictate. But
I
we
see.
just let that creative juices to flow.
Ayun, alright.
Another one, so after that brain dumping, what I do next is the mind mapping. Because
Is it
so
like
this time,
connecting the ideas na? Parang ganun na siya.
yes,
I see.
that's branching out na. So for example, ang nilagay mo is, let's have a topic, stress management, for example. Okay, so stress management, what can you talk about? Okay, well-being. You can talk about prioritizing time. You can talk about taking care of your physical health. You can talk about delegation. You can talk about uh, doing yoga, for example. Ano ba yun? So, that's the time that you develop na yung topic na kuha mo from your brain dump activity. And, yun, pag na-stuck pa din, hindi pa rin makamove on, maganda yung call a friend. So, maganda yung may
Yeah.
kausap ka din,
It's not
'di
just
ba,
you
na
naman ngayon naman, di ba?
yeah, so I mean, a team member, yeah.
A key member,
Um, your manager can talk to that. Your L&D team, 'di ba, brainstorm together.
Yeah, because having a new or fresh set of eyes, yun, basically it opens up a new perspective.
Mhm. And
And
maybe ano, go beyond that border, yeah, ng L&D team. Engage the company. Okay, like a quick crowdsourcing, a quick post kung you're using Facebook groups, for instance, or you're using you're using WhatsApp, for example. Yeah, what do you think of this? Diba? Then or do you have ideas? Yeah, I've learned so much, for instance, whenever I go live and then people started commenting. I learned so much when we started to crowdsource, when we started to get suggestions from others. And it develops our creativity even more.
ayun, alright. So thank you so much for that. Pero I think ako naman one of the key barriers din is well, it might sound simple pero rest.
Mm. When
Rest.
you're ano na no,
Oh, 'di ba?
exhausted.
Oo, when it's starting to become exhausting na, rest. Pero not necessarily rest na magpahinga ka. But rather, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, parang rest in a way na iba naman ang pagtuunan mo ng pansin. Think of other
Mm-hmm.
things naman. Think of
Mm-hmm.
other stuff naman. Maybe not work related, maybe work related, but yeah. Kasi sometimes when we go into something and it's been going on for quite a while, it's grinding your gears na parang parang pilit na. So what's happening is instead of doing more help or progressing more in your project or what you're trying to do, it's you're becoming stuck pa and uh, well overheating pa yung ika nga. So yeah, try to learn or try to
To
identify when
pause.
to
Yeah.
pause,
To
rest,
pause.
and
Yeah.
refresh your mind. Ayan, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Yun. So I think
And just to
ay
add,
yeah,
with
sure.
with the pausing, because I love watching Netflix also, and
Wow.
the stress, of course, I love Netflix. And one of the shows I'm watching now, it's a Korean drama.
Ooh.
Um, First Life something, yun yung title niya. Then I was in the second episode, and then the girl is a writer, and sobrang
Kaya
relate
pala, no?
ako.
Gusto.
Yeah, the girl is a writer. I got um inspired, and I nakarelate ako. Kasi when she's stuck, pag wala na siyang isip na, na something creative, she would stop and clean something. Like, magsiscrub siya ng
Oo nga naman,
floor,
oo nga naman.
maglilinis siya, maghuhugas siya ng pinggan. So, doing mindless activities, for example, like getting yourself a glass of water, timpla ka muna ng kape, uh, can help uh, refocus.
Oo nga
Yan.
naman,
And
yeah.
minsan, in that moment of boredom,
Doon pa lumilitaw yung ideas eh.
doon lumilitaw. Yes. Some people are afraid of getting bored eh. Na parang, ay, hindi ako productive kasi bored ako. But pausing in that period of boredom, doon yung brain natin talagang na-maximize to imagine it, to think, to, oo nga, no? That could be a new instructional design, or that could be a possible training program. That's at least how I got my programs. For instance, I observe, I go on groups, I people watch, for example. I listen to stories of people, and I also pause, like you've mentioned. I also pause and then reflect, and then that's where it comes in. So uh, very important to take
Ayun.
that break.
Alright. Actually, well, speaking of that topic na ano ko lang, na pansin ko lang biglaan, si Sir Jonathan Lim, thank you so much for watching. Yung pala yung tanong niya. So, he was asking, how, or he was asking for some advice about overcoming creative block. Ayun. So, I think, yeah, hopefully, Jonathan, you were able to catch those
Yes.
pointers that we've had. Anyway, it's actually more of how you find the right thing for you, right? So, what
Mm-hmm.
works for us might not, but pero yun nga, we laid down
Mm-hmm.
things that you
Mm-hmm.
can use or you can try on your end. And so, thank you so
So
much
it's
for...
important to know yourself, like self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And even for your creative thinking time, some people, they really think at night. O kaya they're the morning person that talagang yung creative juices running in the morning. So I personally couldn't give you na, hey, Jonathan, sa
Itong
morning
gawin
ka
to.
lang and it doesn't work that way. So, minsan, while we're walking, doon tayo nakakapag-isip ng pwede nating isulat or going module.
Oo nga
Or
naman.
minsan, kapag nagluluto tayo, but there's no like a uh, hard and fast rule to creativity. And that's what I love about it. Yeah, because it's not set in stone. This is how it should only be done. This is how you should structure it. Kasi nga, we have different creative thinking process. And
Yun.
the thing is to really be aware of it, get to know ourselves as much as we can, because that's where the power lies. The more that we know ourselves, the more we can get creative.
Ayun. Right. So thank you so much for that tip. And let's take some time off para pasalamatan naman yung mga viewers natin as of the moment.
Thank
We
you.
have here si Miss Emerald Blake.
Oh,
Hi
Coach
Coach daw.
M.
Hi
Hi, Coach
Coach.
M.
Ayun.
Coach M is also a writing mentor. So,
Wow.
share ka ng mga tips mo, Coach M.
Oo naman. Open po ang ating comment section para dyan.
Yes.
Wow. And then also we have okay, so wait. Ano kasi to? Parang apologize kung hindi ko mo-pronounce na maayos yun. No? Dolce farniente or pleasant idleness. Yan.
Oh, is it an Italian term?
Parang Italian kay
Dolce
C.
for
St.
me.
Clair. Thank you so
Pleasant.
much for
Ang ganda
watching.
na. I love it. Pleasant
Dol
idleness.
Dolce farniente. Wow. May Italian is a bit rusty, so ayan, so thank you so much po sa mga nanonood as of the moment. Like and share our video. And also, if you missed some of the first part of our video, don't worry. We will upload them in YouTube. And also, pwede nyo siyang balikan sa aming page. So, naka-like na ba kayo? Naka-subscribe na ba kayo? Ayan. Alright, well, going back to the discussion, one of the key things then, no, na we have to think about when conducting creative ideas or implementing creative ideas in the workplace is how to do it. So no, so meron tayong idea, we know how to come up with it, but how do we do it? So what are the practical ways to promote creativity in the workplace as L&D practitioners? Yan.
Mhm. I know it may sound obvious, but the important thing is to really communicate.
Oo.
I think for the organization and us L&Ds, diba? Is to communicate to our staff, for instance, our take on creativity. Is it encouraged or is it discouraged in the company? Okay, because there might be organizations who are still in the traditional um, setup, who might have apprehensions pa, or whether it's really an innovative company that yun talaga, that's what they breathe every single day, creativity. So to properly communicate that message and to empower the staff members and what they would get if ever they
Mhm.
get creative. I mean, may incentives ba? Okay. Are there rewards for being creative? Okay. Is there an external um motivation or like a recognition after if they get creative, or will they get punished? I heard also from participants na yun yung naging challenge nila. Well, I could put that as a barrier. Naging challenge kasi the one time that they try this or the one time that they propose this, naging negative yung feedback. So
Oo,
that's
oo.
why they become afraid. So I think that's our responsibility now. As early as the new employee onboarding program, we need to communicate that with staff.
Mhm.
What happens if they get creative? What happens if they propose a suggestion? Will it be accepted? And next one, I think we need to set up also a process on how people can do it. It doesn't have to be a complicated one. Okay, so kung sino ba ang mag-approve talaga before it's, let's say, implemented organization-wide.
Mhm.
saan ba kailangan lumapit? Should it be sa HR, or kailangan ba do I raise it with my manager, or is it an open door policy that anytime I could just tell my general manager that, okay, I need this program to be rolled out for the entire
Oo.
organization. Okay. So I think that should be in place as well, and ma-communicate.
Mhm.
Minsan kasi there's open policy pala, but we're not aware na we can
Ayun,
just
wala
easily
nga
talk with
communication eh.
Oo, wala kasi communication. So, um, very important to communicate. And execution, syempre.
Of course.
Ideas are everywhere. We can have a lot of ideas, ang daming programs na pwedeng i-run, ang daming modules na pwedeng i-build, but it's execution that's rare. What now do we do about ideas? Whose help do we need? How do we tap those people who can help us? Okay, so what are the channels? So the practical way is to really ask when we're not sure. So if we're not familiar with the process, we ask.
Mhm.
If we don't know how to go about it, we ask. And I believe that culture as well needs to be instilled in people, na don't as wag namang mag-assume agad na okay, bawal ito, or or kung ano lang yung nakasanayan, yun lang ang gagawin, because the management might even appreciate it as well, that we are proactive in trying to help. Um, what else? I think it's also important that we
Mhm.
um, maximize those teachable moments. Like, I don't think training or learning only happens when it's in the Zoom room, for example, now.
Oo.
'Di ba? Hindi lang siya
Hindi
when
lang
you,
naman dun, yeah.
okay, hindi lang doon na parang, okay, mag-workshop tayo, learning happens there. It could be on those teachable moments, when on WhatsApp, you can share a link, okay, with short videos na something inspiring. Okay? Or yung tawag dun ngayon is the micro learning, right? When you have those um digestible videos,
Snackable,
like
yung
5
mga
to
tawag
10,
nila. Oh.
snackable, yan, 5 to 10 videos lang, that would be consumed even for people who are busy or people on the go. So, it doesn't always have to be in a Zoom na kailangan nandito tayo 8 hours, okay, to
Oo nga
discuss
naman.
about it. To maximize those moments and to foster that environment and that culture. And I think that's where we can play our role as L&D. Yan, to keep enlightening people, to keep uplifting
Mm.
them.
Mm.
Okay. And kung pag merong idea, hindi naman agad na, ay, ang pangit ng idea mo. Ay, hindi yan okay,
Masakit
'di ba?
naman
Or
nun. Pero yeah.
'di ba? So, wag na yan kasi nagawa na natin. Or
Alright.
but to create that environment, to foster that environment that you can suggest, you can come up with something inventive.
Ayun. Alright. Wow. That's actually a good insight on how to look into it. No, actually, yeah. In order for us to promote, communicate, di ba? If we don't see it, if we don't show it, if we don't share it, it would stay in you, or it would stay with you. Yun, going into what you want to happen. Kasi kung ikaw lang nakakaalam nga naman, what will happen, right?
Right, right.
So, and also, yeah, I think it also has to deal. It's not a one-time thing. It also has to deal with creating the culture itself. Culture is not
Mhm.
something done or ordered. Na, oh, kailangan meron
Mhm.
tayong ganitong culture. Go. Hindi siya ganun eh. It
Or dapat
needs,
creative kayong lahat.
hindi siya
Hindi
ganun. Yeah.
gano'n.
It needs to be
Oo.
fostered. It needs to be,
Yes.
yun nga, promoted. And by communicating it, it's the first step, into
Mhm.
building something better or building something creative in the future.
Mhm.
Yan. Well, eto naman question na to, this question may be a bit, naman, on your end naman, on your experience. Have you ever experienced being burned down or burned out when coming up with creative ideas?
Yes, ang bilis ng sagot.
Yeah. Ang bilis nun eh,
Yes,
yes.
yes. It
Aha, aha.
happens talaga. Especially kapag feeling mo, um, nalabas mo na lahat, 'di ba? When
Oo.
you poured everything.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
would often say this to my learners then. you can't, it's difficult, it's challenging to pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we replenish that cup? Yan, in order to pour more. And babalik na naman tayo dun sa why. Why were we doing things in the first place? Why are we implementing this in the first place?
No nga naman.
And then magpahinga. I mean, allow ourselves to breathe, allow ourselves to relax, allow ourselves to take care of ourselves.
Ayun.
Yan.
Self-love.
So that we yes, self love. So
Self-love.
that we can give more.
I see, I see. Well, yeah, kahit naman anong sino, I mean, kahit sino naman ata, no? They've been through a certain phase na they think pigang-piga na sila. I mean, I've
Mm,
been through there as well na
mm.
ayoko
Wala
nang,
na,
ayoko
di
na,
ba?
pagod na ako, tapos na, okay na to. Pero, yeah, if yun nga, well, going back to our first or a few topics earlier, if napapansin na natin yun or nararamdaman na natin yun, then it's maybe time to check on how we are naman. Kamusta tayo?
Mm,
Baka naman kasi sobrang pagod na natin eh.
yes.
Hindi pala, hindi naman pala ubos yung tank mo, no? Of
Yes.
creativity. Yung katawan mo pala ang ubos na or yung utak mo pala yung ubos na. Ayun.
And also time to
Yes.
learn. I would, if I can add. I mean, kasi
Mhm.
as learning and development professionals, di ba, we always teach or
Oo nga.
train people, and then we share the learning. And then maybe at the end of that training session, parang okay, parang feeling mo na nabigay mo na, 'di ba? So it's also a time to yeah, sharpen the saw and learn. For
Mm.
example, attend certifications
Ayun, oo nga naman.
like CLDP, 'di ba? To network with people in the same industry or even in a different industry, just to get ourselves in the role ulit, 'di
Oo.
ba? To
Kamusta ako, di
sharpen the
ba?
saw. Yes.
Kamusta ako? Wow. That's a nice tip. Magandang ilagay sa t-shirt. Kamusta ako?
Nakamusta ako. Yes.
Alright. Now, I think this will be my last question for you.
Mhm.
Any tips naman or any personal insights on where you draw inspiration? So, what are your sources of inspiration? Or what can become a source of inspiration?
Mhm. Uh, there are a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If we just pay attention a little bit closer, social media is a good source. If consumed correctly, if consumed right,
Actually, may
di
sasabihin
ba?
sa, pero yun, tama yan. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
if consumed
If we
correctly.
follow the right pages, if we follow inspiring pages, yeah, I could give you an
I'm
entire
sorry.
list. Yeah, what to follow and what to follow. Yeah, but yun, seriously, yun, to maximize social media, kasi nga, people in social media are so creative, ah.
Ang dami.
Lately, na-enjoy ko yung TikTok. Doon, ang dami, di ba, parang short training nila. Parang
Oo.
like a minute, meron kang makukuha something.
Actually,
Um,
gumawa din ako. Pero,
meron ka,
hindi ko
okay, fun.
na-advise. I tried my
Ay,
hand on it.
paano?
Mahirap din palang mag-come up with content every now and then.
Actually,
Yeah.
pero nakakaaliw. Yeah.
I tried, paano ko ba yun? Well, it's basically a TikTok thread na why English is confusing. So, doon ko siya finokus. And then yung mga
Mm,
videos. Pero ang hirap din mag-come up with content. Tsaka,
mm.
well, ewan ko kung sa
You need
edad.
discipline as well, ah. So, kudos din sa ating mga content
Oo.
creators.
Like, nung
It's
tinry ko siya, ang
discipline.
hirap palang mag-keep up with the account. Pero yun yeah. Social media is a good source
Good
of,
source, of
if you
course.
look at the right,
If you
at the right
follow
place.
the nice sources. But
Mhm.
also, dun sa mga uninspiring ones, we can learn from them as well what not to do or
Ah,
what not to create as well.
learn from the
So,
mistakes of others.
yeah.
Might sound
So,
bad,
what
pero
not to do.
it's true. You can learn from the
Yeah.
mistakes of others.
Yeah. Of course, we read or we watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get inspired there. Attend programs. You know, we get inspired um, from the facilitator, from classmates. Be extra observant. Yan, with the people around us, the people that we serve,
Mm-hmm.
getting in touch with our customers. Yan,
Ayun.
nakakatulong siya for me to get inspired. Ano ba yung kailangan?
Oo.
Ano ba yung need? Kasi minsan nagiging distant tayo na parang we just create pero hindi naman pala yun yung kailangan. So, to talk to them. Yeah. Um, and that's what I've realized. Um, Now, the more that we inspire, the more the inspiration comes back. Parang it's a chicken and egg eh. Paano ka may inspire? Hintayin ko munang ma-inspire ako bago ako magawa ng something inspiring. But time and again, napuprove sa akin, at least personally, that it comes back in circles. That the more I felt I'm doing something to inspire others, it works the other way around. I get to be inspired more by the participants. I get to learn more from the participants. So we don't wait for that for the time na okay, 100% ready ako. And then we blame the people around us. We blame circumstances. Because no matter how good the motivational speaker, for example, is, or how good the book is, or how good the movie that you've watched, at the end of the day, the inspiration comes from us. The decision, whether we're going to create something or not, still lies within us. So to remember to turn on the light if it gets turned out. Yeah, to
Oo.
remember to switch it on pag nag-switch it off. Because at the end of the day, we'll decide whether we're going to do it or not. And I think that's the best source of inspiration, the one that comes from within. I
Ayun.
always, uh, tell kasi kung nabibili lang yung inspiration, di ba, kung na-add to cart lang sa Shopee at Lazada, wala eh. Nag-search doon ako, walang nakalagay doon.
Wala.
Na, wala doon. Hindi yun na-add to cart, hindi nabibili. Yeah. Although, earlier for me, kasi
Mm.
ang tagal ko nagki-crave ng ice cream. So, nung kumain ako ng ice cream, parang ang saya-saya ko. So, feeling ko I'm extra creative. So, finding time for ourselves.
Oo.
Talaga. Rewarding ourselves as well then. Um, so that, yun nga, we could give more. Because if we deprive ourselves, and if we limit ourselves, dun din nalilimit yung ating output and yung ating work.
Ayun. So thank you
So,
so much for that, Miss Elaine. Wow. What a nice ending thought for our discussion today. So, ayun, no? For our supporters and viewers right there, if you ever feel tired, kung wala ka ng makitang inspirational channel, check mo muna yung sarili mo. Make sure that you're okay first. Kamusta ako, ika nga. Parang gusto kong i-trademark yun. Kamusta
kamusta?
ako, tapos lagyan ko TM.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
For
all
your
my
mental
questions.
health,
Oh,
yes.
wow. That's all my questions for today. Pero, we have some questions here sa ating mga audience. Ayan. So, si Rosette ulit mentioned something. As a trainer, how do we adjust to the learners or audiences that are not open to the creativity we are initiating? Oo nga naman.
Mhm. So if they're resistant
Parang may
to
resistance na. Gawin natin tong
mhm.
activity ito. Parang, ay, kaso ayoko. How do we get there? Or any things to check for, prepare for?
Okay. I always believe prevention is better than cure. Kaya at the start talaga, at the
Oo
onset
nga,
of,
alam mo
of
na
my
agad.
programs, doon talaga muna ina-establish ko na, okay, this is a safe zone, this is a learning environment, let's get creative, there might be activities. So I encourage you to participate. If may mga concerns with that, let me know. Ma-establish na right then and there. You can easily talk to me if you have difficulties, ganyan,
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
we can address it. So establishing early on. Now, if we got into that situation na talagang resistant na,
Ayaw pa rin.
um, maybe we could ask. That's one thing. Another place to ask. Yes, why? Is there any concern? Is there any difficulty? Kapag resistant pa rin, we can only do so much. Of course, um, we are as the facilitators. It's up to us whether you want to keep that person okay still in the Zoom room. Kung na share na ba niya yung negativity yung iba, okay? Hindi na din ba nagpa-participate yung iba because of that, then we need to tell that person, okay, and be honest to that person that maybe ibang program yung meant for him or her. Maybe this is not the program na suitable for him or her, and join a different program instead. Or maybe that person then would want to share. Usually may mga ganyan. Kaya ayaw kasi sila
Ah,
yung gusto naman na
oo nga naman.
na mag-share. So in some occasions, maybe give them the floor and ask their insights. And usually it works with me. I don't know with you, Kevin, pero with when people are becoming resistant about it, and then I ask their suggestion, what would be a better way to do it? Usually, na-appreciate nila, and then eventually they
Mhm.
participate. Pag nakuha lang, pag napakinggan sila, some people
Siguro, yeah, oo.
they
Well,
just want to be listened to.
on my experience naman, I do this thing kasi na modeling, parang modeling. Oh, modeling. It's basically modeling. Like, uh, if meron akong, or if nasa-sense ko na baka hindi nila gawin to, I'll do it myself. For
Mm-hmm.
them to show that it's safe to do. Like for example, yung mga icebreaker, madalas naman nagkakaroon ng resistance sa icebreaker eh, 'di ba? Like we're trying to come up with this creative game, activity, tapos sila ayaw nila. I'll do it myself. I show it
Yeah, that's a
myself.
good one.
'Di
Yes,
ba?
yes.
So that they can
Demonstrate.
that they can
Demonstrate.
have a sense of okay, so kung if kaya niyang gawin or if nagagawa naman ng isang functioning adult, why not me? Parang ganun yung psychology ko behind it. So yeah, modeling is also a great way to go around it. So, if lalo na if something na let's face it din naman kasi sometimes what we try to do is medyo nakakahiya or parang out of the box masyado sa mga ibang tao. Yun. But if once they see someone doing it, once they see that it's safe to do, things like that, uh, slowly they open up to the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Rosette, I hope you were able to catch that. Thank you so much for that question. Next, we also have one here. Nasaan? Nawala bigla. Sorry. Ayun, from Rashid Salonga. Hi, Sir Kevin, Miss Elaine. Hello din po. Magandang hapon. Do you think generation diversity in an organization affects or impacts creativity? Oo nga naman. What if hindi sila belonging with the same
Mm-hmm.
generation or same
Generations.
wavelength ng utak?
Mm-hmm. This could be a barrier,
Mm-hmm.
but it does not mean naman na we can't overcome it. Okay. So, nagkakaroon na tayo, di ba, ng mga multi-generational na work in the workplace training, di ba, that we encourage people to embrace diversity. Um, yes, it could be a barrier, but what do we do about it now is to really listen to the different sides, whether it's a baby boomer or a Gen X or a Gen Y. Listen to their needs
Mm-hmm.
and find a common ground. I'm sure there is a common ground for people. Um, not to, how do you call this? How to brand people just because this is their
Their
generation, or
generation.
hindi nila ma-appreciate, for example, kasi digital
Ay, hindi nila gets to.
nandun na sila.
Ganun.
Hindi,
Yeah.
it does not work that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
I
a
agree.
lot of people na let's say different generation, higher generation na, but then they're tech savvy as well, so not to put a stigma or to stereotype the generations as well.
Okay, I see. Yeah, and also, I think, example na lang din. I remember in our company before, nagpa-event kami, like a TikTok contest with our pets. So you would think na,
Mm,
oh, yung mga medyo lower or yung mga older generation, di ba? But it happens kung sino pa yung, how can I put this kindly? Yung
mhm.
pinaka-experience pa naming
More experience.
co-worker namin, siya pa yung nanalo, di ba? Yung
Mhm.
mga kasama ko na early 20s, hindi nakuha. Di ba? So something like that. It's, creativity is not
It's not
secluded.
about age.
It's
It's
not
not
about
about
age.
age.
Eh.
It's
It's not
not
about
about
age. Hindi siya
generation.
nakasiklood na kapag lumagpas ka na sa certain age, wala ka na creativity or your points of view are
Mhm.
not, applicable anymore. I think that's not the
Mhm.
case. Ayun.
Yes.
Alright, so Rashid, I hope you were able to catch that. Thank you so much for that question. Ayan, so, that's all for our audience. Thank you so much po sa lahat ng nag-comments, nag-like, nag-share ng kanilang ideas. It was fun learning also about what you think in terms of instilling creativity with our industry, or not just in L&D but also in our life. Ayan. So, Ma'am Eileen, again, I want to thank you so much. Ang dami ko natutunan. It was a nice topic, and I had fun talking about where we can find, how we can promote, and how we can share our creativity, not just in our industry, no, but in our daily lives. And well, a few minutes for you para po to promote something. Baka may gusto kang i-share sa ating mga
Mhm.
audience. Ayan.
Yeah, so thank you again, Kevin. I enjoyed as well thoroughly, and it was fun talking about creativity. And yeah, please get in touch with us. Please connect with us. I'd love to be connected with every one of you. Um, we have a Facebook page. You can feel free to check it out
Mhm.
at Press Start Studio PH. So we are an
Ayun.
architectural construction and a training provider as well. So if
Ah.
you need renovation uh, requirements or design or creatives, yeah, so get in touch with us. I also run like a lot of creative programs, creative writing, um, and programs for personal development. So just let me know how can I help you out as well. Please follow us, and you can also visit our website at www.prestarph.com. And I'd love to meet you all in person once this crazy
Ayan.
pandemic and lockdown are over.
Ayun.
Yes.
So, any upcoming projects or parang public sessions perhaps, or
Mhm.
anything to expect from you?
Yeah, so we'll be rolling out quite a number of programs. This
Ah.
Saturday, we're having a creative writing
Ooh.
workshop. We have leadership programs coming. I have free webinar sessions every Monday at 4 p.m. So please like and follow Press
Press
Start
start.
Studio
So, doon na rin nila
page.
pwede panoorin.
Yes, you can
Ayun.
watch it live. We give surprises there. And please follow me on
Surprises.
TikTok. Wala pa akong followers. Yeah.
Sige ba?
Please follow me on
Ano bang
TikTok at
tagline sa
Elaine
TikTok?
F. Ruiz.
Elaine F. Ruiz, yun lang.
Yes.
Ayun.
Well, please support my
Yes,
TikTok
yes, sa akin
page.
sa kana. Saka ko
Ano
niya
yung
sa
sa'yo?
akin.
Bawal sabihin.
Pero yeah, sige, ayun po. So you can follow Miss Elaine on her social media
Yes.
pages,
I have
LinkedIn,
Facebook, TikTok. Yes, I
Facebook,
have LinkedIn,
TikTok.
Instagram as well. And
Naging, pati TikTok naging, well, anyway, that's the future, nga nga. Ayan. So, ay,
mm-hmm.
Venegas, thank you so much din po for watching. Ayan.
Thank you po. Thank you very
Alright.
much.
So again, thank you so much. I hope you had a nice time with us here in the Trainers Lounge. Maraming salamat po ulit for sharing your expertise and your insights.
Mm-hmm.
Hanggang sa
Thank
susunod po.
you.
Hopefully we can find a new topic for us to talk about, maybe a
Yeah.
new
Let's collaborate
angle.
more. Yes.
Maybe a
Let's
new
keep on
angle
with
to
this.
look into how to
Yes.
promote creativity pa. Ayan. So thank you so much
Mm-hmm.
po, Miss Elaine. But bye for now, pero hope to see you soon again sa aming show.
Thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone.
Ayun. Bye-bye po.
Bye-bye.
Alright, so that was Miss Elaine. Ayun, what a fun topic for this week. And what can I say? Creativity is a very, very large concept to tackle. Hindi lang naman kasi natin pwedeng sabihin na creativity it's one thing. A lot of people have their own ways of being creative. A lot of people draw inspiration from different things and even different people pa, no? At the end of the day, what matters is how confident you are with yourself. Not just your idea, but with yourself as well. How how prepared you are to accept things that might not go properly. And sabi nga namin kanina, no, or sabi ko nga kanina, the show must go wrong. And a lot of us are now looking into having different outlets or having different styles to show when it comes to training and also when it comes to facilitating them as well. Pero at the end of the day, as we mentioned, make sure that you yourself are okay. You're in the right mindset. You're in the right physical mindset. Physical mindset nga, physical pa. Physical well-being. And I think if you find your right tune, the right rhythm, and the right source of inspiration, creativity will flow naturally. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe sa aming mga channel. You can visit us at Circologica Group sa Facebook page and also CLDP Philippines. We are also uploading our videos in our YouTube channel sa Circologica YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe there. Pwede nyo balikan lahat ng previous episodes natin and also other videos in terms of HR facets. Ayan. So, hope to see you guys next week. Medyo may pakulo tayo next week. So, sana makita namin kayo and guys, continue supporting our show. Again, my name is Kevin and this is the show where we talk about anything and everything about L&D. This is the Trainer's Lounge. Good night. See you next time.